morning, ladies, and welcome to the long-awaited Retinol special. Now, many of you asked me a lot about Retinol, Retinoids, Retinol Palmitate, Retinol, Retinoid. Every derivative, we don't know which is the mothership, we don't know which harms our skin, we don't know which are sensitive ones. And there's so much written on the internet about retinol that you can just become profoundly confused. But I'm just going to give you the overall broad strokes of retinol, all right? So you have a vitamin A molecule, all right? And that is that thing that does sort of, sit there. Retinoid is the sort of most active part of that vitamin A molecule. That's the best way I can describe it. And we've got ones here, we're doing a secret 7, that are quite strong, and there's ones that are for a very sensitive skin. Now, the most important thing to remember about retinol, whichever retinol you're using, is they take a long time to work. Anyone who's used vitamin C sees an immediate effect because it's the kind of ingredient that when you use it, you see that glow and you see the evenness begin to come. And when you stop using it, the effects stop. So retinol is slightly different. Some companies will say, in a matter of a few weeks, you'll see everything. Ladies, give it 12 weeks. Is my honest advice. You might see some things happening before then, and there might be some things that are difficult for you to push on through. But anyone who is a committed retinol user will say to you, it takes time to get through the tricky stage. Maiko is sitting in the bathtub with me. Say good morning, Maiko.
Good morning.
There she is. And Maiko has used a lot of retinol, and Maiko has skin. She's in her 20s, but you have a little bit of oily skin and acne, so she is using it for that effect. And I first used retinol when it was called Retin A, and it was Tretinon, which is also the medical grade Retin A that you can buy. In France, you can get Retinol cream, which is the pure form of retinol. When I use that, bright yellow, which is the natural state of retinol, of vitamin A, and it was something for chronic acne that was prescribed. I had 1%, 1.5%. I think I had an even stronger one. And I remember when I used it and I didn't see anything. And then a week later, my skin started to get quite dry. Over the next 2 weeks, it got much drier. And then I started to peel, and I was told I mustn't go in the sun. And it did help a little bit with my acne. But it is something that was a really strong grade retinol. So when you're looking at what's over the counter, the options are quite different. But the strongest form, what it does is the retinol comes in and it how's the way I can describe it? It will just make your cell turnover work much faster, and it's sort of killing off and rebuilding. How can I describe it better, Mike? I'm now losing my words.
So retinol is going to help with anti-aging, and the way that it does it is that it helps boost, as you said.
It helps boost, but there's a word I was thinking of, which was more when you're, you've got the cell, it's kind of going to be killed, and then it's going to rebuild and boost collagen. Now, there are some retinols which are going to be softer on your skin. So I'm going to just tell you my secret 7, and they're all different. But if you want to consider using a retinol and you know that you have quite a sensitive skin, you can start gently. You won't see the reaction of your friends who might have a much tougher skin. And I think when you ask friends what retinol they use, you must always check, is this going to be okay for my skin? And the best way for you to know that is to know how you react to things like acids, things that generally can aggravate the skin a bit. So if you're somebody who really quickly goes red with an acid or whatever, you've got to start with a gentle retinol. And you've got to be ready in that kind of, some of them do a very direct turnover, and some of them do a double turnover of cells. Some of them will make you peel, and some of them won't make you peel so much. The ones that don't make you peel so much, they're going to take a longer time to work because their process is different, which is like a retinol palmitate, right? Yeah. So it depends what end of the spectrum you feel your skin is. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, the Menopause Beauty Trinny Tribe. Good morning, everybody. So it is a subject I know you're all keen on, and other things to remember are kind of myths that I want to slightly debunk. So a lot of people say, don't go in the sun because you'll burn more because your skin is more sensitive. But I think with retinol, your skin is more sensitive even to heat than it is to sun. But because your skin is in a sensitive state, you should always wear an SPF. I don't think it means you don't do retinols in the summer. But if I said that as a generalistic thing, everyone who uses strong retinols might go, whoa, I do ease off in the summer. Depends what retinol you're using. I have used retinols through the summer. My favorite 2 retinols are here, which is Julia Hunter's products. And I've used them in the summer, but I use an SPF 50 from June until the last bit of sun pokes its head around England in October, November. It is very, very important to protect your skin in the sun, whatever. So I'm going to say that. Is there another thing? Yes, some people say, can I use it around the eye area? Now, retinols are phenomenal for wrinkles. So where most people get wrinkles is either around the eye area or sort of around the mouth, acne scarring, things like that. So areas where you really want skin resurfacing to take place. You can't hear me. You can't hear me. That might be you. I don't know if anyone else said, oh no, wait, hold on. Is this much better? Because my microphone was on low. Did you hear any of that?
Yeah, I think it was just her.
It was just her, but my microphone was on low. Do I sound louder now, or was that just you, Kelly, who couldn't hear me? Because I just gave a lot of information, so I hope you can. So where was I? You can hear me. You can hear me. Great. Thank you very much. So the sun I've ticked off, that's good. Yes, around the eyes. Don't obviously put it right here, but you can put retinols here. You will get that dry skin if you're using a certain type of retinol, but a lot of women want to deal with the wrinkles under their eyes, and it will help with them. Probably it's the most divisive skin ingredient, skincare ingredient out there, because some people find they're very scared of retinols. And if you look online, you'll find a lot of contradictory doctors. You know, the Harvard Medical Journal will say one thing and a beauty esthetician will say another. And if you click, you know, how does retinol work, you'll find 10 different ways. That's why, in a way, whenever I think I listen to people talking about it, it's confusing. So my most important things are to say, I think you can use it all year round, but you have to be careful and wear a high SPF. I think if you know the sensitivity of your skin, you've got to go with one you feel is the same grade as your sensitivity. And most of all, you need to have patience, 8 to 12 weeks patience. It is not a quick fix like a vitamin C. Okay, anything else that I sort of feel that is important in the generalistic thing before I get into the details? No, have I covered generalistics?
Maybe how it has to turn into different stages.
In terms of the retinol?
Yeah.
What, the different retinols you want me to say?
Yeah, that might be interesting.
Okay, so you start off with Mothership, vitamin A, and the retinol is sort of retinoids are the umbrella term for retinol products. The best bit of the vitamin A is the retinol. Then you've got Retinol Palmitate sitting over here, which is a combination of pure vitamin A and fatty acid, palmitate acid, which kind of, it's an antioxidant, but it also softens the way that retinol works. So I've got here, which one has retinol palmitate in it? Let me just see. We don't have any, but yeah, there are some with it. Okay, then you've got retinoate, which is a synthetic form of retinol, and that's better for people who have a slightly sensitive skin because it's less sensitizing than a retinol acid. You've got a retinol ascorbatate, and that's when vitamin A and vitamin C have come together. So Beauty Pie does a nighttime retinol with vitamin C. So some people, if you imagine, retinol's taken so long to work that there are quite a few companies who add in other things to make your journey sweeter. That's the way I could put it. So the fact that Beauty Pie puts in a vitamin C, you're going to see the results of that vitamin C as you're using it. And you might think to yourself, oh, that's a retinol working, but that's somebody making your journey a nice, more enjoyable journey with better scenery along the way. That's kind of the way. And some people throw in niacinamides and different things. So they're just making your journey better. I think that's a good way to describe it. It's making your journey better. Retinoic acid is the purest form of retin A, sometimes known as tretinoin, which is what I used for about 2 or 3 years. And just to really throw something in the spanner works, I use also Accutane, which is a vitamin A derivative, which is an oral, application one. You take it as a pill to help with spots, and what it does is it goes in and it dries your sebaceous glands, turns over your cell renewal. But it's incredibly drying on your skin, but it's a kind of extreme form for some people for acne. Okay. All right, are we there? Yeah. Yes, so I'm going to start now with some of the babies. So I'm going to start with, what should I start with? I'm going to start with Retriderm. There we go. Hang on, where are we? Okay, one second. Retriderm, where have I got Retriderm here? I want to tell you everything about Retriderm. It is 0.5% retinol. And this is a pharmaceutical company. It's got vitamin A in it, and it's got hyaluronic acid in it. So that's that little making the journey better. And it also it goes 0.5, and there's also 1%. And it's kind of quite a creamy texture, like that. It's got that bright yellow of the retinol, and it's easy to apply. And the smell, it's just that smell of medical smell. I mean, I can't give you the smelliness of the smell. Okay, all right, and it's a good one. It is £42.50. This is the one Teresa Tame uses. This is the one that Micah used, and you used the 1% first. She saw quite a lot of peeling. You got a bit worried. Yeah. And then we went on, she went on, and then you felt it,
I've gone through the peeling stage.
She's gone through peeling stage. How long did it take you?
A good 2-3 weeks, I'd say. 2-3
weeks, yeah. Okay, so you've got to. I mean, that's a short journey to me, but I think that's it. I'm going to take 1 or 2 questions before I go on to the next one, so everyone feels they're in there. Okay. Yes. Why don't you start? Yes.
Is it okay for slight rosacea on cheeks to use retinol?
I think you've got to get advice from your dermatologist, because I don't know the counter effects of retinol and rosacea.
And does it rejuvenate the skin?
The whole purpose, in a way, because you're making your cells turn over much quicker, you are doing that, and you're going to get this slightly baby skin coming out of the peeling stage and everything. It's not as extreme as a deep peel. A lot of estheticians and dermatologists get people on a retinol program and a peeling program to prepare their skin for a big peel, because it gets them used to it. So I think that's how you got to look at it. Yep.
What do you think of retinols in a cream form?
I think retinols in a cream form, we've got a few here. If you just, I'll show you, I'll go on now to my favorite combination. This is Julia Hunter. Julia Hunter is a dermatologist in America, and I think she's fantastic. She's obsessed with the skin, and she has absolutely appallingly pathetic packaging. There's not even air tightness in this. They're quite expensive products. I'm going to take you through both. So I do 2 pumps of this and a tiniest amount of this. So we'll start off with, you read it there, Night Regeneration, $164. So there are other things in it. It's very nourishing. It keeps your skin clear. It's got antioxidants in it, and it has retinol in it. But it also has a bujeja, plant stem cells, which give very broad spectrum protection. So in a way, that's kind of the nurturing part of her vitamin A treatment. And then you have her vitamin A plus serum, which is there. And the vitamin A plus serum has also got niacinamide in it. So that does help increase the firmness, hydration, elasticity. It's got myrtle extract for tissue rebuilding. And this really does have pharmaceutical retinol results. It's a stabilized form, and these two together, I mean, that is to me, that is the kind of most expensive combination, which is a phenomenal combination. It's like going to a much stronger version you get in many other over-the-counter. I think it's the strongest over-the-counter that I've ever come across. And generally, these two products are sold together with a nurse or with somebody who's advised you on them. You can go to her site, it's called Skin Therapy, and get the two together. There are very, very clear notes on her site about how to use it, and you really must follow them, because she is very careful to say to you, do it every 3 nights, do 1 pump and then the other one the other night. And then after about 2 weeks, you then add a little bit more in. And then after about another 2 weeks, you're then doing 2 pumps a night with 2 bits of that. Whenever I use this, and I use this probably 3 times a year for 8 weeks at a stint, I do see a difference in my skin, like nothing else. And I also use it on the neck, and it's brilliant, but it's very, very expensive. Between the two, it's $149 and $164. That's $300 and something, which is 200 something pounds. Really not cheap, but you need very little. Let's go the other end of the extremeness, and we'll go to the Garden Wisdom Retinol 1%. Where have we got it? Garden Wisdom Retinol 1%. This is, I got it here, darling, somewhere. I don't know if I've got it. Yes, I have. Okay, this is a sort of gentle natural one. It's £9, and I don't know what kind of retinol is in it.
It just says retinol on the ingredients list.
Yeah, it doesn't say the type, but it also has Chardonnay grapeseed oil, so that's going to give you the antioxidant and protect the skin as you use it. Sorry, is that close enough? As you use it. This is a good introduction. It does, come out as a little slightly yellow product, which good. It rubs in like a sort of gel cream. It's not too sticky on your skin. I think I can smell, weirdly, that grapeseed smells like rose hip. A little bit, doesn't it? Look, smell it. Hang on, Michael's in the bathtub.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It smells like rose hip.
Nice.
And I think that's nice. I think to get a retinol that's with something else, this is kind of a soft introduction to retinol. It's not going to really make your skin, I don't think, peel a huge amount. I was introduced to the next one by Nadine Baggart, and Nadine and Caroline are phenomenal on retinols. They're way ahead of me on the game, but I just have used quite a few really good ones over the years. So I kind of know that I made a decision to myself that I knew I needed to include retinol in my skincare regime. I didn't want to include them throughout the year in my skincare regime. So I've done this kind of, 2 months on, a month off, 2 months or 3 months on, a month off. My skin has got used to them. So the 12-week turnover, I think my skin now will, 8 weeks, it will work quite well, but you need to really build up, build up, build up. The next one is a Neostrata, and it's NAG. Such a weird name, this NAG, but NAG complex, and it's got retinol in it, and it's got neoglycosamine in it, which kind of just firming benefits. So it's not just retinol. It's got 0.5% pure stabilized retinol, and it would gently exfoliate the skin. But I think what's good is they have invented Neostrata so many products. I think they were first people to really invent glycolic, and they are run by 2 guys, Doctors Van Scott and Yu, and they have a mission to get incredibly good ingredients for the skin and stabilize them and give them to you as products. Really rate them. I think they're great. And I was introduced to them by, first of all, Caroline, which did a facial on me, and she used one of their Collagen Plus products, which I love. And then Nadine introduced me to this, and I use this a bit too when I'm not using Julie Hunter and I'm feeling a bit, even though this is expensive, this is £55. When I'm thinking Julie Hunter I'll afford once a year, and when it runs out I'll go to this. Okay, many of you, any questions? Let's do some more questions.
Do you use retinol on the neck?
Yes, it's very good anywhere you're wrinkly. So here I do use it. You know what? I use it all year round here, I have to say, because I don't think anything else works. So I tend also to do a little bit of microneedling when I do once a week before my retinol. And I think it will help it penetrate better. And I do a tiny bit of retinol on my hands too. So I'll use up a slightly old retinol that maybe is weaker or whatever, and I microneedle on my hands once a week when I'm doing my Sunday morning facial, and then I will put the retinol in and it will go in a little bit deeper. So if you want to go to a kind of natural, organic place, I think that my lovely Plant Me Botanics is a really brilliant range to look at the alternative ways that nature gave us ingredients that we can use as a retinol, and Sampha is one of them. So this is Age Repair Sleep Elixir. It's from Plant Me Botanics, there it is. And this was, sorry, I've got a cough. Paul Bellow is obsessed with oils. He adores oils. His family has a love of aromatherapy and homeopathy. He came to it from filmmaking. But Rock Sampha is an extract from the plant family that mimics the benefit of retinol without really irritating or photosensitizing your skin. And it's got moringa oil in it, which is one of his favorite oils, which kind of gives you that nice texture when you're doing it. And it's on a rollerball, which I find very clever, like that. It's £75. I love the fact it's rollable because you don't use too much. You smell in there the Rosotto just, oh, is there a neroli in this? Let me just see, sorry, is there a neroli in this? I can smell neroli in it as well. Is there neroli in it? I feel there is, anyway. I can smell it. But beautiful and easy to apply and a very good natural alternative. All right, my last one.
We've got Paula's Choice and also Differin.
Yes, so let's go on now to this baby that I was given actually by Caroline Herons, because Differin comes from the States, and this is 0.1%. This is really low. You can get 0.5% and different percentages, but this is sold in the US, Differin, as an acne gel. An acne treatment is £24, and it's a adapalene. This lab wanted to have a pharmaceutical company exclude, boring, adapalene. It's a kind of retinol, it's a third generation retinol. So mild acne, it really helps. And as with vitamin A, when it was first discovered, it was a side effect that it made skin be less wrinkly. So when people started using it I started using vitamin A, tretinoin, in 1982. And then there was no way they would have considered it would be for wrinkles. It was only kind of in the 80s, late 70s, 80s, when they started using it a lot, maybe on people who had hormonal acne, I don't know. And that secondary thing was they were noticing that their skin had fewer lines. So this is a great product. You can now buy it over the counter in America. It does come 0.5% too, but that still might be under a doctor's prescription. But it's an inexpensive one. It's a good starter point, and it will get you there. Now, many of you talk about Paula's Choice as one of your favorite retinols. And by the way, the Differin is a gel. I just want to show you it's not something which has anything else in it. So it's not going to be all lovely vitamin C or some nice niacinamide or anything else. It's just pure old bit of retinol. Okay. Then we're going to go to Paula's Choice. There we go. Paula's Choice is clinical. This is the 1% booster, or is it? No, this is a 1% retinol treatment. All right. And this is really, she's kind of very, very good on her retinols because she has about, I think she has about 5 or 6 streams. This is 50 quid around about, but she had very bad skin. So it's got licorice root extract also, which is a good antioxidant, and it's got peptides in it. But it's, I don't know what kind of retinol's in it, but it's a journey that isn't so flaky, because I have used this on my hands to test it for a couple of months. It's yellow, and I'd never really noticed that my skin flaked in this one. So I just believe it's a very soft retinol. I don't know if it's Retinol Palmitate, but it's a soft retinol. Smells very clinical, but good. And the price point, what did I say again, was £53. And I think, you know, apart from Garden of Wisdom and Differin, you kind of pay, you get what you pay for. I do believe that in retinol. And there's certain things where you can decide to save your money, so you can get cheap exfoliators, cleansers, and places maybe you should spend your beauty budget. But if you want to use retinol properly, the most important things are, you've got to have a really clean skin. You've got to have cleaned your skin. There must be nothing else on it that prevents the penetration of that slightly expensive retinol you might decide to go and buy. And you can even put it on a little bit of a damp skin. You don't have to have a totally dry skin. It's okay. If you decide to microneedle before, don't do it like every night, but you could do it once a week and it will penetrate deeper. It would just go in straight away. You can go in the sun, but you need a factor 50 or 70. And if you're using a really strong retinol, the reason not to go in the sun, I think, is more the heat. I'm presuming you got an SPF 50 on, but heat isn't good for retinol because you'll get prickly heat on your skin. You know, you'll get irritations on your skin. So that's the main reason not to use it in the sun, because I think wearing an SPF 50 is good if you also wear a hat. You know, you've got no direct heat on your skin, so that's very important to remember. It takes time. You've got to be patient. This is not your instant lovely mask or facial fix. This is something that takes a really dedicated woman to think, I want to resurface my skin, I want to have that quick cell turnover, I'm going to use retinols to do that, and I'm going to be patient that after a few weeks it might be a little bit flaky, but I'll go through that process. Some of us don't like skin that looks older before it looks younger. I hate older, younger, but you know what I mean. And with retinol, it can be that. So many people will give up halfway through because they'll think, oh, my skin looks really dry, a little bit red. They won't go on. If your skin is very dry, very red and aggravated, maybe you've got too strong a retinol. So you have got to be the one to gauge, does my skin normally get this sensitive, or is it really reacting badly? Because it could be your first choice retinol is too strong for your skin. So that's going to be your responsibility to try. Remember, don't always presume the one that works for your friend works for you. You've got to judge your skin individually. Anything else I need to say?
Can I ask some questions?
Yes, of course you can. Sorry, no, I just think there's anything else I need to tell you. But yes, please ask questions, yes.
Firstly, Alex, our makeup artist, has just said that he's loving the Garden of Wisdom one for sensitive skins.
Fantastic, Alex. Really nice to hear that. Thank you, darling, for contributing. Alex is our lovely makeup artist on Trinny London, and he's been on tour with us. He has beautiful skin. Beautiful skin. So I'm really happy to know that the Garden of Wisdom one's working well. Yeah, thank you, Alex.
Would retinol suit someone with eczema?
Again, eczema, rosacea, these are skin conditions where I really believe you need to get the advice of your dermatologist. And if you have these two skin conditions, it's kind of important you do have a dermatologist. There are some very old-fashioned dermatologists who would just say, as an ease, don't do anything other than the cream I'm giving you. And there's more enlightened dermatologists who will kind of really weigh up the options and see if you can do it. But if you have skin that reacts and gets oversensitive and very red, you have to be really careful what you use.
Does putting it on once or twice a week work, or do you have to use it every night?
I think you need to build up. So when I started on Julia Hunter's regime, I probably did every 3 days, and then the following week I did every 2 days, and the week after that I did every day, because it's a very strong retinol. On a milder retinol, some of these ones that like the Neostrata retinol and the NAG complex, that probably you can use every day from the get-go, because they've got other nurturing ingredients in them which are going to make it a sort of softer journey.
Can you use it if you have broken capillaries?
I don't think broken capillaries will be affected by retinol, because they are slightly, they're slightly on the surface of the skin. But it is, a lot of people say retinol thins the skin, but what you have to appreciate is it's kind of killing a cell to make a new cell. It's accelerating the natural process of our skin resurfacing, and there is a sensitive time in that. So broken capillaries are very near the surface of the skin, so I think you've just got to be careful, and I would seek medical advice.
A lot of people are asking if you rate the ordinary ones.
The ordinary has a very nice retinol, which is the
there's a granactive one in squalane.
In squalane, yeah, which is here. It is good. I'm not recommending it. Let me just see. Hang on one second, because I have other retinols here. This one, the advanced retinol 2%. There's different retinols. The 1% in squalane is stronger than the 2%, by the way, because if you go onto the Ordinary's website, they have a lot of different retinols. They have about 5, but this 2% is the stable emulsion. So this is actually in some ingredients that are going to make it less strong than the 1%, which I might have here. There's a 5% in squalane, which is, there's one which is stronger than the others. And I remember going onto the website, and I think like the 5%, yes, the Granacular Retinoid 5% in squalane, I think is a good one for sensitive skin, because so it says 5%, it's really diluted. And then there's the 2% in squalane, which is probably actually for the most sensitive skin. And I think then weirdly the strongest one is the advanced retinol 2%, which is that one. So there are many different kinds. Another quick one I'm going to throw in here is the Lunar Oil, which a lot of you love. It's great. I do like it. Sunday Riley does some great ingredients. What I find tricky on this is that it's blue, and I've used it on my pillows and I've stained them. So that's just me. And even though it rubs in, it's blue. So it's a good one. A lot of people swear by it and love it. It's more sensitive. It's got other ingredients in it that are going to feel nurturing as it works. But I find the smell weird for me. This is just personal, and I can't deal with the colour. And a lot of people also, I'm just going to throw other ones in that are good. Murad, which is great, and that is a good retinol. It's a weaker retinol. Any others? Oh yes, and another one I didn't mention, these are just thrown at the end, is actually Lixier's Night Switch, because that's different ones, but there is a retinol 1%, and you can switch that out with the PHA. So some people like to do an acid one night and a retinol the next. That's not going to do anything wrong with your skin, and if you build up to that, you're resurfacing to then turnover cell, resurfacing, turnover cell. But you've got to build up to any of these.
Can you talk a little bit about the Indeed Labs one and
yes.
Beauty Pie?
Yes,
retinol?
Come up, darling, and we'll talk. Because Maiko has tried a lot of retinols, and Maiko uses retinol for a different reason for me. So it's really good to look at those two reasons women do. Because some people come up to me and say, darling, come on here. Some people come up to me and say, should I use, sorry, we've got to go down here like that. Yeah, there she is. Say hello to Maiko. Maiko does all my research and is really knowledgeable about ingredients. But I think you are now how old?
22.
22. So baby, and I'll have women come up and say, can I use a retinol yet? But if they come up to me and say, can I use a retinol yet? And they go, look, I'm getting a line here. I will go, back off! Darling, you're 22. But if somebody comes up and says, I have really bad spots, I know I used it as a part of my skincare regime when I was your age. And you feel it helps.
Yeah. I used to use the Indeed one. Which
yes,
is
Indeed Labs,
sensitive.
which is one. How much is it?
It's £20.
£20, yeah.
That you can find in Boots,
Okay.
So good to start with. So I used that, and then I went on to the Retroderm that you mentioned, which made me peel, but I think it helped a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to back off a little bit because
Yeah.
I feel like your advice was good to say I need to chill out a bit on the retinol.
Chill out a bit,
yeah.
I mean, I think that when you've got, we're going to do spots next week, and we've got lots of solutions for spots, but I don't think that retinol is the primary solution for spots. It's one of the things you can do. And I think if you're in your 20s, really, I would think retinol, you're not there yet. And it's something that when we look at what we consider to us the first sign of aging, so maybe you're somebody with great amounts of expression and you have crow's feet and you don't like that, retinol is a part of a solution to soften lines. So you've got to think, where do you see yourself in age, and what do you want to do to help yourself? And it's a very personal choice. As you all know, at 35, I did acne. So I didn't ever develop lines on my forehead because I was terrible on television. My forehead moved very badly, and in the end, some of you followed my acne video, my Botox video, I decided to do that to stop my forehead moving. So ladies use retinol for forehead, for under here, for skin definition, and it's not really something you use for lifting. It's not for that. This is for texture of the skin. So ladies, I hope that's helped. Maiko, thank you for all your research. And we'll put everything up on the blog later today. Do you think we can do that by later today? That's great. So you can then, anything that we've talked about, you can click on and get. So I hope it's given you some insights. And it is a difficult subject. It's a very big subject, and there is a lot of contradictory advice. So I've given you my personal experiences, Maiko's personal experiences, and a bit of advice from people I've picked up along the way. Have a wonderful Sunday, ladies. Bye.